All right, it's 2 o'clock Eastern. We'll get started. Thanks everybody for coming in today. Appreciate it. This is going to be a fun training. We're going to go through some new things, review some things that we discussed in the prior week, and we'll show some nice wins that we've had over the course of the last week or so. So before I get started here, just as usual, want to just throw it out there. If there's anybody on the Velasquez side that has anything to say, otherwise we'll just kick it off and we'll get going here. All right, super. So my name is Rich Toland, running point on this program here with Velasquez. It's been a great couple weeks. We've had some really good things happening already. We're going to keep the momentum going with this training as well as others that we're going to have. So also wanted to introduce, we have Leanne Zhang on the line from LinkedIn. Leanne, are you out there? I think we broke the internet on that one. So put yourself on mute if we don't have the echo. Great. Well, Leanne, we'll introduce Leanne in a moment, but we'll get started here. So here's what we're going to do today. We're going to cover last week's action items. Just want to make sure everybody understands that ask, why we want you to do that and why it's important. That was saving 10 accounts and saving 7 leads per account. Then we're going to go into something called LeadBuilder and Advanced Search, which is something that's going to help you utilize the advanced search filters on Sales Navigator to take the next step to find decision makers that are important to you. We're going to go through a real world scenario there. And then since you're finding people, you're receiving insights about them, you're going to want to reach out and talk to them, right? So we're going to review InMail best practices, and then we'll get into some Q&A. So if you don't have any questions, probably want to go on mute there. We just got a little bit of background sound, and we'll be good to go. All right? Okay, super. So saving 10 accounts and 7 leads per account. So an account is a company, again, and a lead is a person at those accounts. Those are decision makers that are important to you. So that was the ask. And I was trying to think of a good metaphor for why this is important. You know, everybody's heard this thing, if a tree falls in the woods, does anybody hear it? The reason you want to save leads in accounts is that will empower you to hear, i.e. receive updates when important things happen in your accounts. So this is just a random example. Kelly Cook, right, Kmart, Chief Marketing and Digital Officer at Kmart and Sears. So I looked at her profile. She was handled at Kmart. Now she's got a little upgrade in her title and her profile. She's bringing Sears into her purview here. If I had saved Kelly as a lead a month ago, I would have gotten an update real time when she changed her profile. So these are the types of insights and the types of things that you're going to receive. Job changes are huge trigger events for everybody. You have to save leads and you have to save accounts to be able to receive those. Really important that we do that. And that's what's important right now. And I want to give a couple examples of some really good work so far. So Eric Sashram saved 14 accounts. He has 171 leads saved. I like to look at what I call LPA, it's leads per account. So he's got 12.2 leads per account, and that's really strong. Great job, Eric. Side note on this, too. I realize not everybody has 10 accounts. You may only have 5 or 3. But the one thing that's consistent amongst all of us is that there's more than one person at every account that we need to be engaged with. I think we'll all agree on that. So that's why the leads count is an important metric for us. Second, Garrett Adamczyk, 9 accounts saved, 84 leads saved, 9.3 per account. So save 9 accounts, but it's 84 leads, and that's really powerful. So you've got 9.3 leads per account. Nice job, really impressive there. And then lastly, Gary Montine. Gary, looks like you're on the call today. Great job here with 20 accounts saved and 128 leads saved and 6.4 per account. So that's really the model right there, folks. That's what you want. And just a reminder, like, why do we want to save multiple people per account? Challenger. Everybody understands the Challenger. It was 5.2 people involved in a decision-making process, now 6.8 CEB. So whether it's 6.8, 12, 100, it's more than one. So that's the point, and that's the review of why we want you to save accounts, and then save multiple people per account, because you want to be able to capture all of the intel for all of those important people. All right? Any questions on that concept or how to do that before we move on? All right. So now let me show you some good stuff here. I'm going to go to the Navigator, and just serendipitously, I saw that Matt Lawrence shared an article 18 minutes ago. Matt, I don't know if you're on the call today, but I will tell you all that, one of the things that we're going to be teaching and training on is engaging with insights, which is something very important. You want to get ahead of the decision-making buying process. How do you do that? You do what Matt's doing, okay? Matt has been pushing out a lot of great content. I'm just going to actually do a quick want to show you this here. When I go to Matt's profile, now in Navigator, I can see all this here. And here's all the things he's been putting out. I mean, you definitely have been eating your Wheaties, Matt, if you're on the call. You've been doing some great stuff. So look at this. Really good. Sharing content, sharing updates, writing articles. So again, we're going to get into this in more detail on how to do it, but sometimes all you have to do is look to your left or your right for best practices, and this is some really great stuff. I mean, I've learned things from these articles. I was actually talking to a friend of mine who sells to Walmart with that Kiss nails line, and I was sharing with him some of the information that, Matt, that you put out. So just interesting stuff here. So keep it up. All right, so now we're here. We're on the home page. I want to get into this thing called LeadBuilder up here, all right? Now, John, do I have John Pearsall out there?
Hey, Rich, I'm here.
Hey, good. All right, thank you. So just by chance and by luck, I was going to be covering this topic today, and John and I spoke earlier in the morning. He had a couple questions about how to find some folks, and he couldn't really find them using the basic stuff that we've taught so far. So we went through an exercise that I don't want to repeat here, because this is, when we can show real-world examples, that's great. So what we're going to do is open up this LeadBuilder, and the challenge was, and I'm just going to paraphrase that, John works with Verizon in both the the FiOS and the wireless side. He was looking for folks who sell FiOS, wireless, to small businesses, SMB, right? And we're talking about East Coast kind of presence. So what we did is we came in here and we were using some of these filters. I'm just going to walk you through what we did on this here. So the first thing that we did was we typed in company. So for this challenge, Verizon, we chose Verizon. Then we went to Verizon Wireless. And then we did Verizon, got to spell it right, I think it was Enterprise Solutions right here. So right now we've got 141,000 people who belong to those three entities on LinkedIn. They're all Verizon, but they all have a little bit of a different kind of niche there, all right? And then we said, okay, we want to look for people that have wireless, right, or FiOS, I think it was. So we came in here, right, John, and we did FiOS or wireless. And what we're doing here is we're looking for people that have those words in their profile. This is an important piece. When we look at keywords here, we're looking for people that have those words in their profile, okay? We're not looking at title, nothing else here. So we did that. And then we were saying, okay, let's see if there's anybody who, I think we went to title at that point with SMB, yeah?
Right, right.
So we went to title and we looked at SMB or small business, all right? And then from there, I'm just going to hit the search piece. I'm actually going to come back and go to this title piece for a second here. I'm going to go SMB. And then I'm going to do small business. All right? And let's see if we're back where we were earlier. So the other thing that we did was we were focused on geography, right? Greater New York City.
Right.
Greater New York City area. And then also we looked at the state that we both live in. Beautiful. You should visit New Jersey. All right. And so this is where we landed on our call earlier. And I know since you've added some pieces here, but a couple things I want to point out. When you start a search by using LeadBuilder, you can add a variety of types of different filters in here, like we just did. So we looked at one company. We could have chose multiple companies, actually, if you had 3 accounts that you were searching for similar types of people. But we looked for keywords. We looked for a couple different titles. We looked at geography. Now, I'm going to be sending out to everybody this tip sheet here, and it's called Boolean Modifiers Best Practices. All right? Not going to go through this sheet verbatim. That's kind of like a boring exercise for us right now. But I want you to take a look at it because there's some really strong things you can do. So, for example, using the word and, right? So if I'm looking for a software and engineer, or, the word or. So there's different things that fall under the category of Boolean search. Here's an example. I did FiOS or wireless. Has to be capitalized. So take a look at that Boolean tip sheet, right? And some of the things that are in there we're going to cover today. But that's going to help you really fine-tune and hone in on the decision makers that you're looking for here. So we found a few people and we were on the call earlier, John, right? And then what did you do after we got off the call? You said you added marketing in there, I think?
Yeah, I was looking for marketing and advertising. I think I put marketing in there and added it, and it went from 30 to, I think, like 106.
So did you add it up in keywords here?
I put it down, I put it in title.
In title, great, okay.
Yeah.
So let me just do this, marketing.
And this was very helpful since I was struggling for 3 days trying to find folks involved in small business.
Yep. So the main thing I want to kind of share with you is that if John is doing this, you probably are all trying to figure this out too, right? How do you hone in on very, very specific types of buyers or influencers in your account? So the thing that I think is poignant here, the title piece, I think is super, super strong because it's very literal. These people have these exact words in their title, right? So think about, for the types of decision makers that you are specifically interested in, what types of words might they have in their title? All right, and there could be some very, very specific things, very specific words or phrases that are very unique to your industry and your business unit at Velasys that you may want to try out. So try it out. All right, and don't forget too, you can always even hone in further on seniority level. I could do just C-level or VP or a combination thereof. I could look for people that have certain functions, right? I just want marketing people, all right? And then geography you could look at as well. Now, I do want to point out up here, don't overlook these. We looked at these on the last call, and I want to make sure that everybody doesn't overlook these because there's pretty important stuff here. So of all of these results here, so John, you have 31 people that are new. 31 people that are new within the last 90 days and that match that criteria. So that's kind of interesting. Yep. They could be in change mode, right? And then don't forget the team link piece because what we're trying to do is form relationships. So of these 575 people that we found, 103 of them, since we're on my account now, I can see that 100 of them I can get into via relationships through colleagues who work at LinkedIn. Super powerful. Why cold call when I can just ask somebody else that works in my own company for an introduction? I can see that one of them was mentioned in the news. That's great, right? Because if we're going to reach out to Brian Higgins, then we care that he was mentioned in the news. So what are we going to do? We're going to read the article. We're going to take a minute and read the article and learn about what's going on with him. I can see that 66 of these people have posted on LinkedIn in the last 30 days. Same thing. Why do I care? Because when I craft an InMail, which we'll get into in a few minutes, I want to have something to write about that resonates, that shows that I did my homework, that shows that I did my due diligence there, okay? Then I can see that there's 135 people who share experiences with me. You'll see this too. Maybe you went to the same college. Maybe you're in the same group, all right? So all these things up here are giving you fodder for reach out. They're helping you make that first connection. Now, John, one thing we didn't get into on here that I want to let you know about and I want to let the group know about is we're not done here. Arguably, this is probably the most important thing here. I think we found all these people. You looked at all these different parameters and filters that matter, but right over here in the top left-hand corner, it says Save Search. Anytime you go through that process where you're using LeadBuilder, you put in all of these characteristics, okay? You found the right people. You want to save that search. So you click that button, and then what's going to happen is it's going to say name it, give it a name. So I'm going to call it Verizon, New York, New Jersey, SMB prospects. Whatever, call it whatever you want. And I'm going to set this alert to daily. I don't recommend doing weekly or monthly because why would you want to miss something? So I would sign up for daily. And then I'm going to click this green check mark that says save, and I'm going to save that search. What that means is that tomorrow, when I wake up, or next Monday or next Wednesday, in perpetuity, as long as I have my license, anytime a new person fits this criteria, guess who's going to know about it? Us. We've subscribed. So what we just did was we just set an alert. We've subscribed to, hey, I want to know anytime anybody in New Jersey or greater New York City who has SMB, marketing, right, in their title. What else do we have in there? Small business in their title, who also has wireless or FiOS in their profile. If someone new now matches that, I want to know about it, and you're going to know about it. So you're going to get an email alert. So the Save Search is huge. Now, let's say tomorrow you come into Sales Navigator, you click your home button, and you want to go back and find that search. Right up here in this white box, you just go ahead and click it, right? And you'll see you can get it here, or you can click on all saved searches here. Either or. Either or. So you can easily go back to it. Now, I just want to point out, I have some prior saved searches here. And look, I have new results. These are new people that were not caught in the original search. They either got a new job, they changed their title, they added words to their profile, whatever it may be. So you're going to get alerts that you have new results for that saved search, and it's going to be really cool when that happens. Okay? Now, before I take questions on this, we're actually going to be upgrading how that works, right? So right now when you click here to find these saved searches, that's the method. We're going to be adding some additional very easy functionality in a couple weeks that we'll make sure you're ready for. So we're going to be making some super upgrades on there. And Leanne, who I mentioned earlier, is going to be running point on that. She's our dedicated customer success manager at LinkedIn on this program. So excited for that. Leanne, I'll give you a shout out. Are you out there?
I am.
Hey, good day. I introduced you earlier, and it just went into an echo chamber that literally just broke a bunch of speakers. So hey, great to have you. And you know, I want to introduce you to everybody on the pilot, and we've got this call today. We've had a few, and Leanne and I have sat down a couple times to review what we're doing, what our goals are, and she is a dedicated team member on this program, and she's going to be helping out with training sessions like this and open forums and whatnot. Leanne, if you want to just say a few words, that would be great.
Sure. Thank you so much, Rich. It's really great to meet you guys virtually. As Rich mentioned, I am partnering up with him to ensure that your success with Sales Navigator, and First Line of Business definitely want to share in an upcoming session all the exciting new things that we've updated, and I look forward to working with you guys.
Yeah, Leanne is great. We really lucked out getting her, so I'm super excited that we've got have you as part of the team, Leanne. So thanks for coming today. Appreciate that. So gang, going back to the LeadBuilder piece, questions, or do you want to look at a specific example that might be applicable to you? So we did John's, and John, thank you so much for helping on that. That was great.
No, thank you, Rick. That was really awesome.
Yeah, trying to save time. So this is what we're doing. So Sales Navigator in and of itself is going to be very efficient and save everybody a lot of time. But then once you're in Navigator, there's other things you can do to save even more time and get better results. Like John was trying to figure this out for days. So we're going to continue to fine-tune that. But does anybody have any? I mean, someone's got to have a question about this, I'm sure. Any questions at all, or do you want to run a certain example for a company or a challenge that you have?
What if you choose a CPG?
Okay, so we'll move forward on this piece. I'll point out a couple other things on here that we touched upon in another session, but one thing that's really, really powerful here is this past company piece, all right? So what I mean by that is, let's say if I go back to John's case and I look at Verizon, and actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm actually going to go and do this. I'm going to go back to the saved search, how I would do this, and I'm going to go to here, and then I'm going to come in and I'm going to go and click on view all filters, and now I've got that saved. I don't have to repeat that, right? But now, let's say I want to see if I can find people that match this criteria who used to work at another company. John, is there any other company out there that has a similar sales force or selling similar things that Velasys is working with that you can think of?
You could probably put in, well, you could put in AT&T because I know they switch back and forth. They're both
okay.
Geographically.
Perfect. So here's AT&T right here. So,
yeah.
so just as an example, and you can get creative with this. I mean, let's say you've got companies that you're fully leveraged in. They're buying everything, right? You've got case studies. And then up here, you've got companies that you need to sell more into or would be net new. So when I plug this in here, I can see that there are 22 people who fit that criteria, all right? And when I come in here, I can see their past roles at AT&T and so on and so forth. So that past company piece can be really valuable, right? And there's a lot of other pieces in there. I can look for people that went to, you know, this is going to be a long shot, but because we are in New Jersey, see if there's any rough people. Yeah, so there's 8 people who worked at AT&T, who went to Rutgers, who are at one of the 3 Verizon companies we have, who have all of this criteria in here. So if I were to reach out, I might say, hey, you know, I know you worked at AT&T, we ran a great program there and want to do the same thing at Verizon. By the way, sorry about our football team, we stink, Rutgers, you know, whatever, right? Just kind of build up some sort of rapport there. But these little tabs are going to help you do that. All right, and you've got a bunch of options. So I think that LeadBuilder piece, I'm going to guess that that's something that I'm going to be working on with each of you who want to do one-on-one sessions, because it's going to really be powerful. All right, so we're good there. So no questions on that piece so far? You start a search in LeadBuilder. You can put multiple companies in there. you put it in, and then you save the search, and then you're going to get updates on that. All right? Okay, good. So let's go and talk about InMail for a minute. I know a few people have actually started writing InMail, and that's great. So I'm going to go back to, I was looking at Kmart earlier, and I'll go back here to Kmart, the company, saved it as an account. I've got a lead here, Kelly Cook, right? We saw her before about an example of somebody who had a job change. So let's say I want to reach out to Kelly. All right, I get dropped in. I work for Velasquez starting next Monday, and Dean says, hey, you have Kmart and Sears. I say, okay. I don't know anybody there. I worked at LinkedIn and ADP. I'm going to see what I can do to get in the door with Kelly. So I already know that I'm going to look her up on Navigator, and then I'm probably going to send her an InMail. But how would I do that? First thing I'm going to do, I can see clearly here, right, a couple things, by the way. So she's a premium LinkedIn member because we see that in button. That's important for me to know because when I send an InMail to her, that means that she gets it. She's sending InMail out as well. She's subscribing to these things. She's paying for InMail. The second thing I see here is this open link, and we talked about this before, worth repeating. That means that Kelly has a setting in her profile that says, feel free to drop me a note. All right? You don't even need an InMail to send me a note. I'm open. So that's great. So I like what I'm seeing so far. And the other two things that I'm seeing here is I've got intro via team link. There are 3 people at LinkedIn that have some kind of relationship with Kelly. And then I can see that I have 2 connections in my personal network who have connections with her. So let's go into her profile and look and see. Let's format a strategy here. All right, so the first thing that I like to look at is here on the right-hand side, how I'm connected in TeamLink. And just to reiterate, what I'm doing is I'm preparing to send her a message. I'm going to reach out, all right? If we don't reach out, what are we doing? We need to start a conversation. So I got to think of what am I going to write in this message here. So I've got a few people. Mike Kohler is a guy that I worked with in another client, IMG College. Justin Michael is a former teammate of mine at LinkedIn. I've got Michael. Michael works at LinkedIn. I never knew he existed till this moment. And I've got Gina Mascara, someone else whose name I did not know till now, and Liz Morgan, a sales executive. So I've got 5 people that I can reach out to get some intel. So what I would do is I would reach out to Mike, and I can drop him a note right here. And I would say, hey, Mike, how you doing? Hope all's well, all that stuff. Kelly Cook, you are connected to Kelly Cook. You are connected to Kelly Cook. Was hoping you can give me some intel, right, whatever. So the point is, I'm going to drop him a note, and I'll probably drop 1 or 2 of my teammates a note, and I'll say, hey, I'm excited to see that you're connected to Kelly. Tell me something. Did you work with her? Did you, what's her personality type? Can I drop your name? Do you have any funny stories? Anything like that. So I would work that social piece, all right, and I would figure out what was going on there. It would take me 1 minute to drop 2 notes. Now I also want to see, she's got some updates here. This is good stuff. All right, so shared an update. I can. Nothing more attractive than woman wearing comp, farmer launch. Great. Proud of our team. Okay, good. More updates, very active. Makes sense, because a lot of these types of folks are active on LinkedIn. So I'm not going to do it now, but I would read each of these things, and I would definitely look to understand what's important to her. All right? Now, comes time to send a message. Right here, it's either going to say send message or send InMail, okay? Either way, this is going to be sort of the template for what it looks for. You've got a subject line, and here's where you're going to write your message. By the way, down here, it's going to give you some more tips and say, hey, don't forget you've got a couple shared connections, right? She shared an article, so it's giving you all of these things. Don't forget, right? You can also attach content. right? You can attach a PDF, Word files, JPEGs, things like that. So let me get into kind of like the science behind this here. I'm just going to pull up this Word doc, which I am going to share with everybody, all right? So there's really 4 pieces to the InMail. And let me just say this. Garbage in, garbage out in everything we do. I don't care if it's InMail, email, phone call, you're knocking on a door. So the content matters. InMail in and of itself is an awesome tool and an awesome way to get in front of somebody because it bypasses gatekeepers, which is so powerful. It literally goes right to that member. They're going to get it in their inbox on LinkedIn, and they'll get it on their email address that they have on file with LinkedIn as well, which a lot of times, as we know, is a personal email address. Right? It's going to go right there. So the technology is great, right? But the content still matters. So if you were to send 50, you get 50 InMails a month, which you can send. If you were to send 50 terrible InMails, your response rate is going to be not that good. If you send 10 great InMails, you're going to get responses, okay? So this is a process and sort of a template that we've used. And listen, it's art and science and everything in sales. Add your own spin on this, but I'm going to give you some suggestions on what has worked. So the first thing is the subject line. Use their first name. Mention something specific about them. So my subject line here might be something like, hi, Kelly. Reaching out, Ari, your Kmart video, and John M. says hello. Something like that. So John M. is someone that I had social connectivity to or worked at the company. So if I send that and I use that, hey Kelly, reaching out Ari, your Kmart video, and John M. says hello. Now I would put the last name, John Myers or whatever. She's going to, I'm willing to bet she's going to open that, okay, as opposed to, you know, some generic subject line. So you want to be really specific and you want to put a little bit of effort into these people, especially these high-level folks, okay? So that's the subject line. The opening statement. So expand upon the subject line, right? Stay on that topic and expand upon it right away. Mention by name again. So it could be something here like, hi, Kelly. I loved the video, and I'm just going to write quick, and I'd put a little more effort into what I'm doing now, but it's something like, I love the video, especially the part about going green, whatever, right? I noticed you are connected to John Meyer. He said to say hello. We worked together at ADP. Great guy. All right, something like that. All right, so you've got this piece up here, and then down here, just expanding upon it. What did I like about the video? It was great. I love the going green part. That's awesome. John M. say hello. So that's good because I already talked to John, and John told me that he got along with Kelly, so she's going to remember him. So good stuff. So now it's like, okay. Now, okay, great. You've got my attention. You've shown me you've looked at my profile. We have somebody in common. I'm now giving you the opportunity to tell me what's going on. Like, what's the deal here? What's the business value, right? The business statement. So could be something like, I noticed your recent campaign around XYZ, right? We are having great success with our ABC launch, right? Just put something in here. I see a lot of parallels, and I'm going to kill the word parallels, around the value prop, whatever, right? Let's come in here. So just write something that makes sense, like literally, why are you reaching out? So in this case, hey, I know that you guys are running a campaign. We're doing something similar with one of your competitors. There's some synergies there, blah, 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 all right? So make it short and sweet, though. Don't write about yourself forever. Just make it about what's important to them. We feel like we're going to be able to help you grow market share as well because we've been there and done that. So that's that business statement. And then lastly, the close. So this is part, you know, Sales Navigator training and just part of what I'll call Sales 101 since 1980 type stuff. So you'll see a lot of things on LinkedIn about you want to start a conversation, you want to have a back and forth, right, this and that. My personal, you know, thought on this is that I like to kind of get to the point at the end and ask for a specific thing, like an appointment. So in this case, it could be something like, you know, ... Can we jump on a call, a 10-minute call, either Friday at 2:10 p.m. Eastern or Monday morning between, you know, 10 and 11:30 a.m. Eastern, right? Would love to catch up or whatever, and see if this could be a good fit. So that's it. So what I like to do is make it easy and very easy for a decision maker to say, yes, I can do that. So historically speaking, when people send InMails like this, the typical response will not be, hey, Rich, really, that's great that you know John. He was such a great guy. He loved to play tennis and super supportive person working with him. Good job on that launch. I do see similarities. You know what? Let's get together next week at 10. That's not the typical response. The typical response you're going to get is, sounds great, 10 o'clock on Monday. Thank you, right? But the thing is, you want to make it easy for them to respond. You don't want to do this. You don't want to say, I hope we can speak sometime about this. When's good for you? Because guess what? Now you're putting work on her plate. She's got to figure out when's good for her and throw you a date and this and that. So that's more of like a personal style thing and what I've seen on the pilots that I've run. You know, listen, if this works for you, great. Feel free. This is open. You can do what you want here. But I just want to suggest that sometimes it's easier just to give and, you know, it's like an alternate close. Do you want this or you want that? I'll take that, as opposed to an open-ended piece. Couple things, couple extras on the InMail piece we found. So be genuine, right? Trust your judgment in terms of style of the language you want to use throughout. If you want to be highly professional because that's who you are and that's the language you're comfortable in, then do that, right? If you're conversational, you're a people person, you like to do, you know, communicate in a certain way, just be yourself, right? Be genuine. Number two, if you don't get a response via InMail, guess what? That's okay. Remember earlier we talked about it's the content that matters, right? And you can use this same content in multiple delivery methods, whether it's email, whether it's on the phone, stopping in, or whatnot. So if you don't get a response via InMail, copy and paste it and send a regular email, but use the same copy because you spent time putting it together. I can personally attest to that. That's worked for me, right? I've gotten responses via InMail, and I've also not gotten responses. I've put it in a regular Outlook email, sent it off, and I've gotten responses. So if you spend time to put the copy together, you know, make sure you're sending it out and giving it another shot via email. And then the third one is pretty important too. So don't be a victim of paralysis by analysis. You know, you don't have to spend hours and hours and hours, you know, researching people. I remember when I was managing my team at ADP before joining LinkedIn, I rolled this thing out there, and I had reps that were sitting in front of their laptop, just, you know, and I asked, hey, what are you up to? What's going on? I say, I'm really trying to craft the most perfect InMail. I want it to be the best A++. And meanwhile, that's the 90-minute process, and my message is, listen, that's not a good use of 90 minutes. You should be able to figure it out pretty quickly, and the more you do it, the more intuitive it will be, right, and the better you're going to get at it. So maybe you do spend a little more time in the beginning, but it shouldn't be something that takes forever to do. And then when I send you this, you'll notice here's some examples. Here's just some examples that you can see, right? Subject line, opening statement, business statement, close. right? So you can take a look at these and read these, but I think it's, you know, it's important. So big piece of what we're doing here is helping you all open doors. Whether you use InMail or Outlook or whatever it is, you know, you definitely want to take action, okay? Any questions on the InMail piece? Has anyone received one? Has anyone sent one? Has any had any luck or not luck with that before? I saw a couple people sent them out already.
Yeah, I've used it and had dialogue only through that channel. I can't get her to actively respond in a timely way, but she has been responding, and she's a prospect.
Good. Yeah, and so that's typical. That's definitely typical in terms of it cuts through the noise just by the nature of the technology. Again, think about our own inboxes. You know, we probably already have like 10 new emails, all of us each, in our inbox with all kinds of stuff, company meetings, you know, advertisements, all things. Imagine the kind of email that Kelly, the volume of email that Kelly and Cook gets, hundreds, thousands of emails a day. But here's a little tip-off. She's a LinkedIn member, paid member, so guess where she is? Guess where she spends some of her time? Here on LinkedIn. So the messages she gets in her inbox here is probably 1 to 2% of the volume that she gets in her regular InMail. So that's why. So it's going to help you get right to them. And then, listen, this stuff, if you can just be real custom and show care, I think we can all appreciate the fact that if somebody does research on us as people, right, and they understand our business, and they take the time to craft a message that reflects that effort, we're probably going to respond, right? And if they don't, guess what? We're going to send them another one next week, so eventually they're going to respond anyway, right? We're going to be professionally persistent there. So good to hear. My main advice on the InMail for everybody is try it. Just try it. If you've got some copy that you want to send my way, I will gladly look at it and let you know, give you input and insights on, into that, and I'll show it to my team, and Leanne will look at it too, if you're not sure. But there's literally nothing to lose and everything to gain by sending an InMail. You're not being intrusive. You're not bothering somebody. You're not going in a space that's private. This is not a Facebook message. It's not a Twitter direct message. LinkedIn is a professional network. People talk about professional things. Velasys, as the leader in the industry, has a lot of great solutions that can help drive revenue for these companies and for these agency clients. So I look at it like when you send them an InMail, you're doing them a favor by letting them know about the great things that you have, right? You got to break through that noise somehow. So leverage the InMail, use it. Don't worry, don't get discouraged if you send three InMails off tomorrow and you don't get a response. Sometimes it takes a couple days. Sometimes you have to send a couple more. It's like everything we've always done in sales. But it's another weapon for you, and it's really, really powerful. Can't tell you how many success stories we have of getting into both at LinkedIn, like us doing our job and our clients, of getting in front of people finally this way. All right. Any other pieces on the InMail, questions around that?
Yeah, I have a question. How did you get it to populate your signature line automatically, and then can you talk about if there's relevance to the copy message to CRM at the bottom left corner?
Yep. So your signature is already set in there by default, all right?
That's in Navigator only, right?
In Navigator, correct.
Okay. Yep.
Now, I can come in here and edit this if I want to, right here. So I'm just kind of hovering over it. And I can do it. I can add tagline, whatever. I just left it for myself. I think it's fine, but if you want to come in, you can do that. But that's done by default. And then the copy message to CRM is actually, it's great. We're not doing it during the pilot, but post-pilot, it's something that we're going to look to do. We've already had conversations with folks at Velasys about doing this after the pilot. But what it does is it will copy my InMail message to Salesforce.com, my Kelly page in there, right, as information. And it's awesome because it helps me keep track of the messages that I've sent back and forth to her right in Salesforce.com. And that's super helpful. Another thing, just to kind of expand upon that, is when I take notes here, all right, if I was going to add notes around Kelly, I could copy that to CRM too. So that's not something we're going to do on the pilot, but we are looking forward to expanding on that after the pilot.
Thanks.
You're welcome. Anything else on the InMail? Geez, I better not send this, right? That wouldn't be good. If I accidentally hit the send button, she's going, what the heck? All right, so I'm going to X out of that, and while we're up in this little box here, I wasn't going to get into this today, but since we just kind of went in, I do want to show you this here, and this is something that can be really helpful. Every person here that you have saved as a lead, you can add tags and notes to. Okay? So for tags, you can create your own. So I'm going to click this Add Tag button, and I've got a bunch of tags here, right, for my own purposes. But if I wanted to create a new one and call it seasonal, actually I already had that one in there, so I'm going to go with something different. I'll just call it, let's see, Velasquez Decision Maker, create new. And so I've now tagged her Velasquez DM. So now when I go to another, let me see, if I go back to another person, I'll just show you here. I go back to Kmart, and I'm just going to click any person. Let's say if I go with Derek. I save Derek as a lead, and I can now find that tag by entering it in. Velasquez DM, apply. Now, where that comes into play is when I come over here and I look at all of my saved leads. So here's all my accounts and here's all my leads. You'll have yours in the same spot. I can then sort all of these leads by tag. All right? So if I come down here and go to this DM, there's my two that have that tag. Okay? Do you guys ever do events or road shows or conferences?
Yep.
Yeah? So one thing that we're doing at LinkedIn is we have a couple things coming up in October. We have an event in New York, and we have one in San Francisco. So what I did is I went into all of my leads here, and this is kind of on the topic of sorting leads. I just searched for all of my leads. So imagine you've got 25 accounts and you've got 100+ leads everywhere all over the country, but I only want to see the ones that are in New York. You can do that. And so what I did is I kind of went through and saw everybody here, and then I picked and choose who I was going to invite to the event in New York. So my point is that when you come into this leads piece here, you can then sort by tag, by geography, relationship, all those things that we've been looking at, except now it's all the people I've saved at leads, and I can see this is good. 36 have changed jobs, 13 mentioned in the news, et cetera, et cetera. All right, so that was just a little extra stuff just because we were looking at the notes piece there. I figured I'd throw that in there. Okay? All right, so got about 12 minutes left. So I'm happy to open this up for any questions about anything. Anything about saving leads, anything about free LinkedIn, anything about InMail, anything at all. Does anybody need any help with anything or have any clarifying questions on what we covered?
So a quick question. So what are the best steps to take to increase your selling index?
That's a great question. The answer lies in where you are right now. So what I mean by that is this. Let me take a look at my own. So when you're on Navigator, you come to the home page and you see everybody has this widget here. Go ahead and click it, and it will show you the things that make up the score. So this is 25 points, 25 points, 25 points, 25 points, all right? So a couple things. Depending upon where you are is going to dictate where you've got the greatest room for improvement, right? Make sense? So in this case, if I want to increase my social selling index, the building relationships piece, I'm maxed out on that. So I'm not going to worry about that. I can see that finding the right people for me is where I've got area of improvement. Engaging with insights, area of improvement, and professional brand. When you click on each of these hyperlinks, it will go into more depth about the things that qualify as establishing your professional brand. Finding the right people, engaging with insights, and building relationships, all right? Because you asked that question, though, I'm going to shoot out, and let's write this down, SSI growth tips. I do have some information around that that's more specific, some specific things you can do. So engaging with insights is kind of like, you know, doing what others have done with sharing content, commenting on articles, publishing articles. We looked at some great examples earlier with that. Do you know for yourself, and I'm sorry, I don't know who asked the question, but do you have any sense of where your score is at in terms of these 4 quadrants? Does something stand out as a place you could get, you know, better numbers at?
Yes, so it's publishing insights.
Engaging with insights? Okay. So the good news, too, is that we're going to be training on that and really having some really fine-tuned conversations about how to do that. In general, though, it's what you think it is, right? And that is being active on LinkedIn. So if one of your prospects, if the company page publishes an article, you know, you should probably read it. If you want to comment, comment. You know, like it. Ask a question, you know, or that's you sharing an update. So, you know, I think it was Mac's point, right? You guys did that. A lot of folks share that news. That's a good example of sharing stuff. You know, for a company like Blastus, there's a lot of content that you can share and just push out into the LinkedIn world. That's engaging with insights. Publishing is a great one, too. It's a really, really good one. And just going back to, I actually want to head back here, for example, and show you a couple things. Let me go to, where's my man? So look at that. So Lisa Stone. Lisa, I don't know if you're out there or not, but if you are, we see what you're doing. Good job. 6 minutes, 10 minutes ago. Pretty cool. So, and here's some stuff that Matt's done, right? And I want to go back to Matt, for example. So talk about engaging with insights. I'm going to check out his score. I'm curious what it is. But he's doing the right things, right? Sharing updates, publishing, sharing updates, right? So this is really, really good. And the other side to this is that you want to engage with what others have put out there, you know? So from my side, I'm a consumer, so I'm consuming his content, and I have liked a couple of the things that he put in there. I didn't comment, but I liked it after reading it. So that adds like some kind of algorithmic, you know, upside for me on my engaging with insight piece, even that little action. But he's doing really good stuff here. So you want to push stuff out, and you want to engage with things that are out there. You want to be a content provider and a content consumer. Comment, like, do all those things. We're going to get really into social selling index stuff and how you can improve your scores because, again, like those types of activities have been proven to drive pipeline and revenue ultimately. So that's a great question. Thanks for asking that. It was good. Any other questions out there? I'm more than happy to give you guys back a couple minutes. Okay, super. One last thought that I want to leave you with here too is, and this is something that Leanne reminded me of yesterday, and thanks for doing that. You know, we're here for you for support. We're going to have multiple trainings. We're going to have open sessions. You know, I've been on the phone every day with multiple people from the last that are on the pilot, and that's great. And we want you to continue to do that. You can also come up here. So on the upper right-hand corner, you see support. There's two things in here, the Learning Center and the Help Center. If you have a question about InMail, for example, let's say if I just go into the Help Center, and I want to ask a question about InMail. I type in InMail, and let me see what happens. I'm going to get a lot of content. Okay, so there's a lot of things there ready for you, and I can get more specific on that search if I wanted to. Okay, I can also go into the Learning Center. The Learning Center is very robust. There's a lot in here. There are additional webinars, seminars, all kinds of things that are available to you outside of the pilot curriculum, right? So if I want to search in here and look at, I'll just do InMail again and see what happens. I type in InMail. Look at all this stuff. I've got InMail best practices. I've got a video I could watch. If I want to get funky with my German, I can do that. So it's in multiple languages. Okay? So just know that there's additional resources outside of what we're doing here on these calls, and that if you need some immediate help, or if you want to really run hard into this, feel free. Feel free to come right in, and right up here you've got, again, Support Learning Center, Help Center. All right? Great. Well, listen, we'll bang the gavel on the call for today. As I've said to the leaders at Velasas that I've been speaking with, I think so far everyone's been doing an excellent job. I've run a lot of pilots, and you folks are definitely leaning into this. Profiles have been updated, accounts are being saved, leads are being saved. You're setting yourself up for success individually, which is what's important, right? Now, we're getting ready to take the next step and actually reach out to people and engage and start conversations, start sales processes, and close business ultimately. That's what we're looking to do here. So let me know if there's anything you need to get caught up. If you have any questions about what we talked about today or anything else that you need, let me know. I'm going to be sending out some more invites for more open sessions, and we're going to have a variety of topics, just kind of like, you know, Q&A type stuff next week. Okay? But feel free to reach out to me individually as well. And with that, we will bang the gavel. Thank you, everybody, for coming in today. Appreciate it. Have a great rest of the week. All right.
Thanks, Rich.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.